to town. Number 1 UConn and their superstar Tina Charles look for win number 69 in a row. The Fighting Irish have been giant killers before. Tonight the ladies try to do it again. Notre Dame, Connecticut, Big Monday now. Welcome to South Bend, where the number 1 team in the nation tries to continue a march towards history. UConn looking for win number 69 in a row against Notre Dame. The Huskies have already clinched the Big East title, but Notre Dame plenty to play for. A win tonight, the Irish would have a double bye in the Big East tournament. For UConn, though, a Big East title has been a foregone conclusion. Now they're chasing legends. Hi again, everyone. I'm Bob Wischusen with Carolyn Peck. Rebecca Lobo will join us in just a moment. It's like the circus comes to town. When UConn's in your building, it's sold out. Everyone knows it's the Super Bowl that they're playing for the opposition game in and game out, and yet they keep winning by 25.
They put on a great show. They've even beat top 25 ranked teams, and they've done so by almost 30 points a game. Hey, Bob, it's not just their offense. Their defense is pretty fun to watch, too.
And Tina Charles is at the center of it all. 13 points and 5 rebounds tonight. She's the leader all time in both categories in UConn history.
I think she's the best center in the country. She does a tremendous job of being that go-to post in the paint. She'll hurt you going to the offensive boards, and then also I don't think there's another post player that runs the floor in transition the way that she does. But now Notre Dame, they're very fortunate. They've got their leader in Lindsay Schrader back on the floor. She had a bad ankle sprain against DePaul, and they lost 2 games without her. Yes, she's the leading rebounder on this team, but it's not just that she brings. She brings leadership and calmness. So you look for Lindsay Schrader if UConn goes ahead and starts to make a run.
And Rebecca Lobo still has 5 more rebounds for Tina Charles to enjoy being the all-time leading rebounder in UConn history, Rebecca.
Well, Bob, tonight Tina has the chance to rewrite the UConn record books, and she said she never considered the possibility of becoming the all-time leading scorer and rebounder or being a Player of the Year candidate, but she is really excited about it. She said that when she got to UConn, Coach Auriemma would tell her about the great centers that had played there, and she told me, I want him to tell people about me. I want to leave a lasting impression. And guys, it's safe to say she's done that.
No question. As we take a look at our starting lineups, first of all for UConn, Maya Moore, not too bad, joining Tina Charles.
Well, she's the defending National Player of the Year. Spectacular and can hurt you in so many different ways.
And Skylar Diggins might be the Freshman of the Year in the Big East. Certainly an argument can be made for Notre Dame.
Well, she stepped on the Notre Dame court in that uniform and has not played like a freshman. She's fit in very comfortably like Cinderella's slipper.
Dennis DeMeo, Barbara Jo Smith, and Rochelle Jones. The officials tonight here in South Bend. We are underway. UConn not only going for win number 30 on the season, win number 69 in a row, but will also be another year of 16-0 in the Big East if they can win this one tonight.
Well, Notre Dame has started out in a 2-3 matchup zone, making Connecticut have to use a lot of clock, move the basketball around. But when it gets to that high post area, when it gets to Maya Moore's hands, there's not too much you can do about that.
A quick release by Moore, and UConn takes the early lead.
Now, UConn looks to be in a zone as well. They started out in the zone against Georgetown, and what Georgetown did is they hit some early threes, got some confidence. That's what Notre Dame's going to need to do today.
Leitner penetrates. Can't get it to go. Straight down the lane, no good on the initial shot by Carolyn Doty, but there on the follow, Kalena Green.
Connecticut showing a lot of stuff. Now a kind of 2-2-1, 3/4 court zone, causing Notre Dame to have to use a lot of the shot clock.
Diggins drives it off her foot. They call it a kick ball, though. So 15 seconds on the shot clock, and Gino Auriemma can celebrate his 18th Big East regular season title, just clinched this week. 6 national championships, a 7-time National Coach of the Year. There are a couple of plaques hanging in the den. Barlow from the corner. And it's run down in the corner by Green.
It's shots like those that Notre Dame needs to fall in order to get this crowd into the game and also to give themselves a lot of confidence.
Charles with the left hand around Erica Williamson, who was a late add to the starting lineup tonight for Muffet-McGraw.
Well, Muffet put Erica Williamson into the game. She has some size. She's got 5 fouls to give, but there wasn't too much when you let Tina Charles get both feet in the paint that deep. She's done a tremendous job working on her left hand. She can go with that left, with that right, and make you pay.
Barlow again misses from the corner. It's time to pass a bit too high for Charles to handle, and a chance in transition for the Irish. Barlow tries to slip one down low, can't find Schrader. It's a turnover. And this is not the start that Muffet-McGraw and Notre Dame wanted. The Irish are 25-3, 12-3 in the Big East, but without Lindsay Schrader last week, lost back-to-back games. So they've actually lost 2 of their last 4. They have had Schrader back now for a couple of games, and they expect her to be full go tonight, still nursing a sprained ankle.
Well, we saw her come in and get some shots up earlier today, and she looked to be moving pretty well. She said it's sore, but it's not going to stop her from playing.
Diggins forces the issue. No good, just about gets stepped on by Barlow. Leitner down low. Schrader forces one up. No good. Williamson, the follow, plus the foul. It took 3 minutes, but Muffet-McGraw's team is on the board. They're headed to the NCAA tournament for the 15th year in a row, no doubt. And in the last 12 years, they've been to the Sweet 16 7 times. A 600 career game winner, including a couple of years at Lehigh, but she's won 521 games here in South Bend.
So far, it looks like a good move to insert Erica Williamson into the starting lineup. She's got tremendous size, and it's not just to guard Tina Charles, but also to make plays like that, get on the glass, and potentially draw fouls against Tina.
Moore had it knocked away by Leitner. Right to Doty. From the corner, wide open jumper off the mark. Helena Green couldn't hit. Here comes Schrader. Schrader finds Leitner. Nice pass underneath. Off the hands of Williamson. Out of bounds. It'll stay though with Notre Dame.
I like the unselfish play by Notre Dame, moving the basketball, and what Coach Muffet-McGraw talked about is not just taking the first shot, but getting the best shot within each possession.
Diggins penetrates, and a blocking foul will be called. That'll go against Doty. So that will put Skylar Diggins at the free throw line.
Diggins saw a seam driving in. Caroline Doty late getting there, but that's good aggressive play shown by the freshman.
This Notre Dame team is no slouch. They were in the top 5 in the national polls for the first 15 weeks of the season. And the first time that College Game Day was ever on a campus for a women's game was in Stores when these two teams met earlier this year. But the Irish came out and just got blitzed early on by UConn in that game. They were down 20 before they basically broke a sweat and lost 72-47.
Well, I think there was a lot of hoopla surrounding Game Day being there. In the first 8 minutes, Connecticut just jumped all over Notre Dame. Helena Green talked about they punched Notre Dame, and Notre Dame never responded, and so they just continued to go at them.
Double foul called. Schrader and Moore will both be called for a foul, and we'll step aside. Notre Dame has made history and broken some streaks before. We'll take a look back when we return. Big Monday presented by Bud Light. UConn with the early 2-point lead over Notre Dame. Notre Dame trying to break the 68-game win streak. They've done it before. The football team back in 1957 broke Oklahoma's storied 47-game win streak with a 7-0 win in Norman. And then a game I think Digger Phelps has mentioned once or twice before. In 1974, a win over John Wooden, Bill Walton, and UCLA, ending their record 88-game win streak. in women's soccer back in 1994. Notre Dame upended North Carolina and ended their win streak at 92 games. So football, men's basketball, women's soccer, it has happened before. Can it happen in women's basketball tonight?
Hey, anything's possible. In 1998, Tennessee was on a 46-game win streak when they came into West Lafayette, Indiana, and the Purdue Boilermakers. That was a motivating factor. You know, you've got that extra little edge. You're at home. You've got the crowd behind you. You've got something to prove, and there's nothing that make this team happier than to break that streak.
Clock down to 10. Barlow with Kalena Green all over her, and the shot clock at 5. Hands it off to Schrader. Schrader with the left hand right around Maya Moore.
A lot of patience by Notre Dame, getting late in the shot clock and then able to finish. That'll give a team a lot of confidence.
Baseline jumper for Green.
Connecticut sitting in this 2-3 zone.
Diggins straight away. The long rebound. Knocked out of bounds by Leckleitner. As Bruszewski comes on, replacing Erica Williamson. Boy, if Notre Dame could even take a lead, that would be news.
Oh, this place, the lid would pop off.
Well, during this streak, UConn has trailed for a total of 95 minutes. They've played close to 2,800 minutes of basketball, and they've been down for less than 100. About 3.5% of the minutes that they've played, they've trailed. And the second half numbers are even more startling. You can see these are the most minutes that they have spent trailing in any games, and Notre Dame right at the top of the list, but they have been behind in second halves by a total of 3 minutes and 37 seconds.
Or 0.03% of the minutes played.
And there's a three from Tiffany Hayes. Just after the Irish put together a 6-0 run to tie the game, UConn comes back with 5 quick ones.
Tiffany Hayes could be the key to the success of this continued streak or run to break the record for the streak. How she plays, I think, really has an effect on the rest of the UConn team. She's got to be the point guard. She's got to be the 2 shooting guard. She's got to be the steady, and she's only a sophomore.
Moore from the wing. Long rebound tracked down by Kalena Green in the corner.
That's the tough part about being in a zone is the rebounding. You've got to make that extra effort to find the person to go check out.
Great hands by Diggins. Collapsed on Tina Charles. Leckleitner. And now Diggins will reset. Plenty of time on the shot clock at 15. Clock down to 5 now. Leckleitner with a pump fake, a lean in, and that missed everything. Shot clock violation.
Look at how much attention is drawn to Tina Charles whenever the ball comes inside. Skylar Diggins even helping down.
Timeout called by Notre Dame. Just under 7 minutes gone by in the first half, and UConn on top by 5. Presented by Bud Light. UConn with a 5-point lead. 68 wins in a row, the second longest win streak ever in women's basketball history. They're trying to break their own 70-game win streak set by the 2001 through 2003 UConn group. Moore leans in, comes up short. Leckleitner, the long rebound.
You watch what Connecticut's doing against that zone. There was an overload. There were 3 UConn players on one side of the floor against 2 Notre Dame defenders.
Leckleitner, tough shot. Devereaux Peters, offensive rebound and the putback.
Devereaux Peters on the glass, and she's returned to play after having 2 ACL injuries on the same leg. You look at the overload. 3 players on one side.
Moore to the middle. No good. Offensive rebound again by Kalena Green. And she's fouled by Devereaux Peters. Let's head over to Rebecca Lobo.
Well, guys, Notre Dame down 3, looking like a much more confident team than the first time they played on January 16th, where they were intimidated, especially in the first 8 minutes of the game. So how did Muffet-McGraw handle that loss? The day after the UConn game, when the Notre Dame players came in for practice, she brought them outside. She had them take their UConn scouting reports on the back, write down whatever they didn't do in that game. And then she had them throw those scouting reports into a trash can. They also threw in the game DVDs, and they threw in the box score, and they lit it all on fire. It was her way of saying, this game is behind us. Since then, they've watched some clips of that game, but mostly the things they did well when they played aggressively, because that's what she needs them to do here tonight.
Well, as a coach, what you want your team, Rebecca, to remember is what you did well. There's no need in showing and getting ingrained in your mind what you did poorly. You may repeat those same mistakes. You want to see what it is that you do well.
What they do well is lead, and that is where they are on the scoreboard right now. 5-point lead for UConn on Big Monday at Notre Dame. Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light, and it was a big weekend for Tina Charles. She became only the second active ever inducted into the Huskies of Honor. She and Renee Montgomery are now the only 2 players that were ever still in uniform and got to celebrate this moment as her parents guided her out on the court. And she was inducted as one of the all-time great Huskies, which obviously she is.
And then on senior night, hey, she left the UConn fans with a memory. 33 points, 15 rebounds. She came to Connecticut to become the best center or post player she could be. And it's not been an easy road. She and Gino, well, Gino has come at her really hard and challenged her. And the thing that I respect about Tina Charles is she stepped from the challenge. Most players, or some players who would have been coached the way Gino has coached her, may want to shrivel up, may want to transfer. No, Tina Charles, he welcomed it, and she's become the best center in the country.
11 more points and 4 more rebounds in this game, and she'll become the all-time leading scorer and all-time leading rebounder in the history of UConn women's basketball on the same night. Rebecca Bruszewski pulls the Irish back to within 3.
Well, the thing you've got to do to compete with Connecticut is you've got to crash the boards. You've got to stay on that offensive glass. Now, the one thing Notre Dame needs to do is then keep Connecticut off the offensive glass and control the paint.
Traveling called on Kalena Green, and men's college basketball continues later on tonight. ESPN's Big Monday at 9 Eastern, Oklahoma against Texas. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN, the Red River rivalry on the court. For more information, you can always log on to ESPN.com.
Those turnovers, the turnover UConn had has got to continue to help build some confidence, but you can't turn the ball right back, give it back to them.
Moore left alone for 3. She shoots 41% from three-point land. You can't lag off Maya Moore.
It was getting a little crowded inside in the paint, and so I like how Coach Ariema moved Maya Moore out on the perimeter. Now it's more of like a 4-out, 1-in offensively for UConn.
Bruszewski spins in the lane and scores.
She is very efficient. You know, they talk about if she could play 40 minutes, she would average about 19 points a game. She's efficient with the basketball.
Doty tries a 3. That's off the mark, run down by Devereaux Peters. You have to think that the pace right now is where Notre Dame would like it.
Well, that's what Coach Muffet-McGraw talked about, controlling the tempo. The 3 keys were control the tempo. You also had to control the rebounding, and then you needed to make some shots, and that's all the 3 things that right now Notre Dame's been able to do.
Making shots is Becca Bruszewski, and it's a 1-point game.
the attitude of Becca Brzezinski in the center of that zone. She's directing traffic.
Low position, though, around Brzezinski goes Tina Charles.
Just cannot let Tina Charles get that deep in the paint. Both feet planted. She's going to punish you every time.
9 points away from the all-time scoring record set by Nikisha Sales. Skylar Diggins draws contact. Foul called on Tiffany Hayes. That'll put the freshman at the free throw line. The last 7 points scored by Becca Brzezinski for Notre Dame.
Well, look, she lost the dribble there. She figured the shot clock might be running down, knocked down the three. Hey, see the three, be the three. She liked it.
Lindsay Schrader comes back on. Natalie Novosel for the first time for the Irish. Devereaux Peters and Ashley Barlow head to the bench. Lauren Dixon in the game for the first time for UConn, replacing Tiffany Hayes.
Now, I'll tell you what Lauren Dixon does for the UConn Huskies, is she changes the tempo. They will become a quick, fast team. She picks up the tempo and makes the ball get down the floor quickly.
2 misses at the free throw line, though, for Diggins. Moore's shot bothered by Diggins and a foul call. So Skylar Diggins called for the foul. Moore to the free throw line.
Gina Ariema moves Maya Moore around, and when you have a player that has the versatility that she has against a zone, if you're not able to get it done with her inside, what do? You move Maya Moore outside. You watch her now outside the three. Defense lost her, and she knocked down that three ball.
Moore's an 83% free throw shooter, but she only made 1 of 2. So Notre Dame down by only 4, which is a far cry from where they were at this point in the game the last time these two teams met in Stores. But another errant pass. Lichtleitner throws it away. Novosel after it, or rather Mallory in the backcourt, and a foul called on Lauren Dixon.
Even though it's incidental contact, that trip is going to be called by the official every time.
5 team fouls for UConn here in the first half, 4 for Notre Dame. Lauren Dixon, a McDonald's All-American in 2007, only 5'4". Out of Queens, Springfield Gardens to be exact, in New York. And she is a spark plug off the bench, to say the least, for Gina Auriemma. Lichtleitner trying to be a spark plug as well. Hits the backboard first, gets her own miss.
Controlling the clock, that's what Notre Dame's doing. By getting that offensive glass, instead of going right back up, reset your offense, give yourself another opportunity.
Novosel couldn't finish the backdoor cut. Out of bounds, though, off Charles. Notre Dame shooting only 33% here in the first half. To me, the defense is the thing for UConn that gets underplayed.
I agree with that 100%. They are tenacious defensively. They tip a lot of basketballs. They make it very difficult for the perimeter game of their opponents to score.
Well, UConn's number 3 in the country in scoring, number 1 in field goal percentage. But they're also number 1 in scoring against and number 1 in field goal percentage against. So you're the top 3 in the country. And how many points you score and how many points the other team scores? That's pretty good.
You're doing something right.
Shot clock down to 4. More to the corner. Wing jumper in and out for Kalena Green. The loose ball tracked down by Lindsay Schrader. Brzezinski turns, uses the glass, just a bit too strong. Moore fades away off the feed from Dixon.
Last possession for Notre Dame. I like going to Becca Brzezinski down low on the block, but Lindsay Schrader needs to clear out, give her room to work, and possibly draw that foul on Tina Charles.
This time Schrader drives it. Dixon again, like lightning from one end to the other. finds Green in transition. Perfectly done by UConn, and a timeout called by Muffet McGraw.
And that's the speed that Lauren Dixon brings to UConn when she comes on the floor. It's quickness that she brings, so she has the ability to change the tempo.
Yeah, we talked to Muffet McGraw before the game, and we asked her what the keys to tonight's game were from Notre Dame's standpoint. And she said, tempo, tempo, tempo. Really, that was keys 1, 2, and 3. And all of a sudden, Dixon gets in the game, a couple of transition opportunities, and the tempo now steps up, and you can sense that totally rattles Notre Dame.
Well, I think what Gino Auriemma saw was that Notre Dame was controlling the tempo, and in order to change that, he puts Lauren Dixon into the game so that he can get some more points and opportunities in transition.
Now, how do you slow it down if you're Notre Dame?
Well, the thing about it is you got to keep the ball out of Lauren Dixon's hands. Make somebody else bring the ball up the floor in transition to continue to control that tempo.
Skylar Diggins and Ashley Barlow both back in the game for the Irish. As Brittany Mallory and Natalie Novacell go to the bench. Barlow draws contact, no whistle. Somehow keeping it alive on the baseline was UConn, but then traveling called on Moore. And we'll step aside. The #1 team in the country going for their 69th consecutive win. They're up by 8 here at South Bend on Big Monday. Football coach taking in Big Monday. Brian Kelly on hand watching UConn lead Notre Dame, at least at this point, 23-15. And there is a whole new feeling around the football program as he comes from Cincinnati and brings a tremendous level of success with the Bearcats. The folks here at Notre Dame only hope will be restored glory under the Golden Dome. Baba Schusen, Carolyn Peck, Rebecca Lobo here in South Bend for Big Monday. And you've been paying pretty close attention from an X's and O's standpoint to how Gino Auriemma is executing things here in the first half and how he is able to change on the fly what they do to make in-game adjustments to how Notre Dame plays defensively.
Well, when you have go-to players, you can go to Tina Charles down low inside. Or if you need a bucket, you can find a Maya Moore. You need a perimeter shot, you've got Caroline Doty or Tiffany Hayes.
Barlow from the wing. Can't hit again. Gruszewski tries to keep it alive. Run down by Dixon. Stripped away by Leckleitner. On the follow, Caroline Doty plus the foul. Boy, you stop Dixon, and still UConn with a chance for a three-point play.
Well, we talked about the different ways to score. Going to Lauren Dixon in transition can speed things up. But the other way is that when you want to go inside, what do? Hey, pull everybody up above the free throw line area. Look here, you've got 4 players that were above the free throw line, and Tina Charles was isolated down low.
Doty completes the three-point play. Mallory comes back on. Skylar Diggins sits down for the Irish. And it's a 10-0 UConn run and their first double-digit lead.
They've gone to the 2-3 zone. Rebecca Gruszewski, she got the ball inside. She is the most efficient player on this Notre Dame team.
And she's been the offense here in the first half. She has 9 points. Turnaround on the baseline, unstoppable for Tina Charles.
I think that's an understatement. Unstoppable. She can pivot either direction using her left hand, right hand. She's got terrific post moves. She's also extended her game, scoring up on the free throw line area. She's going to be the #1 pick in the WNBA draft.
Dixon, after a clean block, was called at the other end, and then a hand check foul called on Mallory for Notre Dame. Crowd wanted a foul call as Lindsay Schrader hit the deck, but according to the officials, a clean block, not by Kylie McLaren, but by Doty sneaking in from the backside.
I think that was Ferris on the backside. No call there, and then going to the other end, then Notre Dame is called for the foul.
Dixon drew some contact. There was no call, and Barlow comes back the other way. Slips one underneath. Devereaux Peters able to finish.
Notre Dame's intent is to keep this a low-scoring game, making Connecticut have to move the ball around. But, hey, Caroline Doty, she's hot. Against Georgetown, 3 for 5 from the 3, and that's what she needs going into the Big East tournament, that kind of confidence.
Largest lead for the Huskies. Leitner with the ball fake, creates some space, finds Peters again. Gruszewski takes it away. Good hands inside by Mallory to knock it away from McLaren. Gruszewski steps back, uses the window. Timeout called by Gino Auriemma. College basketball continues on ESPN Tuesday night with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, 19th ranked Vanderbilt taking on the Gators. And then at 9 Eastern, Evan Turner and 7th ranked Ohio State hosting the Illini. Super Tuesday presented by KFC on ESPN and ESPN360.com tomorrow night. This is Big Monday. And here at South Bend, Gino Auriemma. His team has won 68 in a row. 15-0 in the Big East, looking for another perfect Big East regular season. They have already clinched the regular season title in the conference. Number 1 in the polls, 40 consecutive weeks.
And he did expect Notre Dame to bring their A game today because they have a lot planned for, and especially trying to get that win, control their destiny, and get the double bye in the Big East tournament.
Doty creates some space, knocks down another 3.
Out of that timeout, Gino Auriemma decided the zone was not working. It was giving Notre Dame some confidence, so he switched up, and now in a man-to-man.
Gruszewski travels. 3:23 to go in the first half. 5th turnover for Notre Dame. Boy, it's tough. You have to worry about Maya Moore. You have to worry about Tina Charles. Then all of a sudden, Caroline Doty starts knocking them down.
Well, she's got a lot of confidence. She got it against Georgetown, and she doesn't look like she's taken her foot off the pedal.
We'll discuss the bubble, and yesterday, Kara, some teams really helped themselves and hurt themselves.
Take a look at North Carolina. Huge win at home for them over Duke. That was a team that had lost 7 and 8. Much needed big victory over potential number 1 seed for Sylvia Hatchell's squad.
We will talk all the teams that helped and hurt yesterday, plus what UConn and Notre Dame could do in the second half. It's all coming up at the half. Bob and Carolyn, we'll see you soon.
All right, Ryan and Carrot, thanks very much. Big Monday presented by Bud Light. And it is a big Monday when you're with the UConn Huskies and Gino Auriemma. His team has won 68 in a row, going for win number 69. The record in women's basketball is 70, set by the UConn Huskies back in 2003. But the numbers for this group, staggering. They have not lost a game by single digits. Have not even come close to losing a game. Every win has been by at least double digits.
It looked like out of that timeout, what Gino was trying to do was to go inside to Tina Charles. Notre Dame's doing a terrific job of deflecting a lot of basketballs, trying to go inside, and Becca Gruszewski is really being physical with Tina down low.
Each team now with 16 fouls, 2:54 to go in the first half. Galena Green picked up that last personal. Gruszewski's been the offensive star here in the first half of the Fighting Irish. Can't hit that one. And the rebound falls to Tina Charles. Caroline Doty lost her footing and turns it over. 8th first half turnover for UConn. And Caroline Doty, you're always concerned when she goes to the deck. She had a torn ACL midway through the season last year. It was the second time that she's torn her ACL. She missed her entire senior year of high school, tearing her ACL while playing soccer. So she's gone through a lot of pain to get back to the point where she can play at a high level.
And she's just now getting her confidence back. Shooting that 3 ball against Georgetown, like I said, 3 for 5. She's hit 2 here today. Might be a slick spot on the floor. Lauren Dixon seemed to trip up in that same spot.
Doty the rebound off the Tina Charles miss. Wide open in the corner again, Kalena Green. Maya Moore with a held ball as she got tied up with Devereaux Peters. The possession arrow, though, gives it back to the Irish. Tiffany Hayes comes back on for the Huskies, replacing Doty. So Hayes back in, playing with a couple of fouls. Notre Dame hanging in there, though, down by 11.
With the size that UConn has, they have the ability to switch on screens, which is taking away the lane, the driving lane for Notre Dame.
Hayes pulls up and connects. And the lead now swells to 13. If UConn wins this game during this streak, it would be the 11th time that they have beaten a top 10 team. Their average margin of victory in those games, 27.4 points per game. That's ridiculous. I mean, you're not just playing ranked teams, you're playing the best ranked teams. Leitner for 3, way off the mark. It falls to Tina Charles.
And Gino Ariema said that he didn't believe that they were playing very well right now and felt like because they've got to play so many of their starters so many minutes, it's wearing on them.
Men's college basketball continues tonight. ESPN's Big Monday continues with the Big 12 at 9 Eastern. Oklahoma and number 25 Texas. Big Monday presented by Bud Light coming up on ESPN. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. And Tina Charles now with 4 rebounds, so she has tied Rebecca Lobo for the all-time lead in UConn history. 1 more, and she has the record by herself. And she needs 7 more points to become the all-time scoring leader. Shot clock for the Irish down to 5. Barlow traveled, so another turnover for Notre Dame. That's their 7th. Williamson back in, and Lindsay Schrader goes to the bench. Schrader playing with pain, a sprained left ankle that caused her to miss a couple of games as we're down to the last 15 seconds of the first half.
And I'd expect that Coach Gino Ariema is going to look to go inside to Tina Charles.
Five seconds to go. Straight away, Hayes, Moore for 3, in and out, at the buzzer. So the Irish showed flashes in the first half, certainly hanging in there with UConn, but still, the definition of hanging in there with the top-ranked team of the country only being down by 13 at halftime. We'll see if the Fighting Irish can mount any kind of a charge in the second half, as they are trying to do what no one's done to UConn in the last 68 games, and that is beat the Huskies. The head coach, Gino Ariema, and he's with his old player, Rebecca Lobo.
Coach, when Notre Dame had success in the first half, they were able to slow down the pace of this game. How important is it for you to keep this up-tempo?
Well, I think that's the way we like to play, obviously, to get the tempo going a little bit quicker. One of the things that's happened, though, unfortunately, is as we made the tempo a little bit quicker, we've wasted some possessions just by playing too fast or just giving the ball away. So our defense has been really good, and our offense has been we either score or we throw it away. So we've got to do a much better job of getting quality possessions in the second half.
All right, Coach, thank you. Bob.
All right, Rebecca, thanks very much. Quality possessions usually result when the ball ends up at Tina Charles' hands. And at halftime, Charles with 6 points and 4 rebounds. Again, she needs 13 points and 5 rebounds to be number 1 in both of those categories in UConn history. For the halftime report now, though, let's send it back to Ryan Burr and Kara Lawson in our studios.
Thanks so much, Bob. So a 13-point game at the half. Ryan Byrne, Kara Lawson, and Kara, I checked off the time when it was 16-15 UConn, a 1-point basketball game. They finished the first half on a 20-8 run. How'd UConn do it?
I think you take a look at UConn, and they were getting stops. They were able to get out in transition and get some early baskets. But here's what Notre Dame was doing with their matchup zone, trying to shade Tina Charles a bit, not allow her to get the basketball. Now, she's only 3 for 5 in the first half, only 5 field goal attempts for Connecticut's primary inside scorer, so that's where they did a good job. Here's what Connecticut needs to do better in the second half, and that's reverse the basketball. You see Ashley Barlow there. She's on the back of that 2-3 zone. Well, what does a quick reversal by UConn allow them to do? It allows them to pull up the back of that zone, and it gets Tina Charles in a one-on-one situation against Becca Bruszewski there in the middle of that zone, and that is an easy layup for her. So quick ball reversal is going to give them an opportunity to get those post feeds.
And Husky transition points, obviously a huge part of that 20-8 run. Notre Dame just didn't have an answer on the glass or in the fast break. Well, looking for 69 in a row tonight and well on their way with a 13-point lead. Of course, UConn already has the record of 70 in a row from the 01-03 team. A couple of those stars reflected on what this new team is about to do to their old record.
Don't want them to beat it, but I think they will, and I'm happy for them. Whenever you get to a milestone like that, you've obviously put in a lot of hard work, and you found a way to win that many games. I think it's amazing, and I hope they do beat it.
I know there's going to be comparisons. I remember when I was in college in 2002, there was comparisons to the 95 team who had gone undefeated. And even last year with 2009 team, they compared. And it's fun. It's fun to talk about. It's fun to joke about behind the scenes. But the bottom line is this team, I mean, they're pretty dominant. And you really, you can't overlook that. And I think Diana actually said, they're definitely in the top 2, number 2 though.
The UConn not on the bubble, but plenty of teams are. We will look back to a Sunday that saw some bubbles burst and others come more into direct contact. We're back with the halftime report right after this.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by E-Trade.
So, yeah, sorry about last night.
Yeah, I just don't understand why you didn't call.
Yeah, well, I was on E-Trade, diversifying my portfolio, taking control like a wolf.
Right.
What's that? That's volatility in the market. Taken care of. Wolf style. Ho, ho, ho! That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night. That tonight's gonna be a good night.
Welcome back to Big Monday, presented by Bud Light here in South Bend. Halftime, just about set for the start of the second half. And it's a 13-point lead for number 1 UConn against number 8 Notre Dame. Bob Wischusen here with Carolyn Peck. Rebecca Lobo will join us in just a moment. I guess the glass half full, the glass half empty, if you're Notre Dame. Their numbers couldn't have been much worse in the first half. They shoot 33% from the field, 1 of 6 from three-point land, out-rebounded 21-14, and yet they're only down 13, still within striking distance.
Well, it's because I think they've done a good job of defending the paint, and they've paid extra attention to Tina Charles. Now, they've mixed up how they've guarded her. First, they brought in a double team, bringing a guard down, and Skylar Jenkins was able to get the steal. Then Becca Bruszewski was very physical, fronting her on the block, and then they were forcing Tina Charles to have to try to score from the perimeter. Only 6 points in that first half.
Bruszewski combines with Devereaux Peters for 17 points off the bench. Tina Charles and Maya Moore combining for 14. So UConn stars approaching their averages, but certainly not huge in the first half. Caroline Doty, though, hit a couple of big threes, and all in all, 4 of 8 from three-point land in the first half for UConn.
It's going to be important to continue to go after breaking the record of the undefeated streak, the scoring from the perimeter for UConn. That's the sign again. Double team forcing the turnover with the pass going to Tina Charles.
Leitner off the steal, able to set things up for Notre Dame. And the Irish have to avoid that big run coming out of the locker room at halftime that seems so patented this year for Connecticut, especially in games where They were at least in a battle at halftime. Shot clock down to 5. Diggins dumps it down low. Bruszewski, air ball. Schrader runs it down. That'll be a shot clock violation, though. It never hit the rim. And let's check in with Rebecca.
You guys, I caught up with Muffet McGraw, and she said we basically need to make shots, only 33% in that first half. She said we're missing easy ones. We got what we wanted, but we have to score. And she said, much like that last possession, we're over-dribbling. We're not the kind of team that can take you off the dribble. She said, I'm going to try some different things this second half. I want to get Schrader and Skylar Diggins going more offensively. And Diggins only played 11 minutes in that first half because of 2 fouls. She's huge for this Notre Dame team.
Charles, triple team down low, lost the ball, and it ends up with Leitner again.
Well, Diggins, now remember, Bob, she's only about 10 minutes from here. She said that's if you catch lights. So she's got a huge hometown crowd and has been very comfortable and played very well at home. Look for her to get involved more offensively.
Barlow again out near midcourt with the shot clock under 10. Bruszewski picks up her dribble. Barlow in the corner, shot clock down to 3. That shot blocked and taken away by Maya Moore. Finds Green in transition. Boy, you cannot get a crack of daylight against UConn when they turn up the heat defensively. Bruszewski up, under, around Maya Moore.
Bruszewski's got that toughness, that strength and positioning. Really surprised, though, she's able to score over Maya Moore.
Charles up through Bruszewski, and a foul called. Carolyn takes us inside the play.
Well, defensively, the thing that you're able to do with a player like Maya Moore is watch when Tiffany Hayes, as she guards Ashley Barlow on the screen, that's a switch. With the size of Maya Moore and her athleticism, Notre Dame's not able to get to the basket.
Foul was called on Barlow. Her first. And Tina Charles continues inching towards the all-time scoring record in UConn history. She has 7 points, so she's 6 away from passing to Keisha Sales, and only 1 rebound away from passing Rebecca Lobo.
That's good company when you're in the record books just above Rebecca Lobo, because she was a great player for the UConn Huskies.
Schrader, a little pull-up, no good. Maya Moore the rebound.
Those are the easy shots Muffet McGraw was talking about missing. That's a wide-open shot for Lindsay Schrader.
With hands inside by Brittany Mallory. Knocked it away from Charles.
Charles had 3 players around her that time.
Crowd getting antsy as Notre Dame takes their time offensively. Diggins, tough pull-up, acts off the mark. Every shot is contested. Boy, before you blink, you look up at the shot clock, it's down to 7, and you're 30 feet away from the basket. Stripped away underneath, though, taken away by Brittany Mallory.
And Notre Dame has worked on some new offensive wrinkles, getting ready for Connecticut, but also getting ready for the NCAA tournament. And they don't quite look very comfortable in executing their offense.
And then Leitner again couldn't hit on tight in around the basket.
You were talking about the runs that UConn could make. Against Stanford, they went on a 23-5 run in the second half. Against Oklahoma, 13-2. They've got that punch in them.
A deep 3 knocked down by Tiffany Hayes. And now the lead starts to swell for UConn. This is their largest lead. Leitner blocked. Moore just takes it away.
Coach Muffet McGraw's got to think about a timeout to stop the bleeding, stop the run, settle her team down so that Lindsay Schrader can look in her team's eyes and go, hey guys, let's get back to what we did in the first half.
Blocking foul called on Becca Bruszewski. So when we come back, Tiffany Hayes will be going to the free throw line, and a moment away, she scored from way outside.
Well, Tiffany Hayes has helped to extend this lead. Connecticut's got to get great shooting from the perimeter, and Tiffany Hayes has definitely showed up tonight.
I am impressed by Tina Charles as she closes in on the 2 top records you'd want if you're a center in basketball, to be your team's all-time leading scorer and all-time leading rebounder. She came into tonight eating 13 points and 5 rebounds to set both records in this game. And right now she's got 8 points and 4 rebounds. Tiffany Hayes at the free throw line. 1 of 2, but adds to the UConn lead up to 19.
Devereaux Peters out on the perimeter is not a threat. That's allowing Tina Charles to really zone up in the lane because they know that Peters is not going to shoot the ball from the perimeter. Takes away all the driving lane for Skylar Diggins.
Diggins lost it, found it again, and found Devereaux Peters. And injured on the play is Caroline Doty. When Diggins went up, got Doty in the air with a shot fake, there was contact and hit her right in the mouth.
Skylar Diggins was looking for a driving lane. It was taken away. Looked to go up for the shot. Caroline Doty took a shot in the mouth.
The left elbow of Diggins caught her right underneath the chin. And then Doty is a hockey player. She stays in the game.
Attention paid to Tina Charles down low.
In and out for Doty. Offensive rebound for Megan Gardler. She took a shot, and it's out of bounds off UConn. 68 wins in a row for UConn. They've beaten 20 ranked teams by an average of 26 points per game. 10 top 10 teams by over 27 points per game.
Well, in Connecticut, now they can score, don't get me wrong, but it's their defense. And Carol Lawson has said this several times. In order to beat Connecticut, you're going to have to get scoring from your perimeter game, and that's where teams struggle.
And you can't miss layups and then commit fouls. Devereaux Peters missed a layup, had a clear path to the basket. And then a foul called on Notre Dame. Becca Bruszewski picks up the foul. I don't know if there is a formula to beat UConn. If you're coaching, what is the formula?
Well, I think first of all, you got to hope they have an off night. And then like we talked about, your guards have got to be able to score against their defense. Then you want to defend in the paint. And that's not just keeping Tina Charles off the block. You also have to keep Tiffany Hayes, Kalena Green from driving into the lane and scoring that way. And you also have to have confidence when you step on the floor.
Gardler called for the foul, went over the back. Brittany Mallory.
You got to keep that composure, and I believe that Notre Dame getting a little frustrated, not with the ability not to score, and that's why this lead continues to expand.
Schrader misses another layup.
That'll take the wind out of your sail right there. That's a wide open layup. Gardner's on the floor, and Lindsey Schrader's not able to finish.
Moore from the elbow knocks it down.
She makes it look so easy.
How much of those missed layups are, oh my goodness, we're playing UConn? You know, how much of it is just a mental challenge of trying to play a team this good? As Peters misses again inside. And then a foul called.
I think it has a lot to do with it. That composure, even footsteps. Connecticut players have not been around some of the layups that Notre Dame has attempted, and they've bricked them. They've not been able to finish.
And that last rebound by Tina Charles is the record setter. She has now passed Rebecca Lobo, the all-time leading rebounder in UConn women's basketball history. Maya Moore has it taken away by Brittany Mallory.
There's a lot of dribbling by Notre Dame. They're not moving the basketball, and a lot of standing against this man-to-man. Their cuts are not with a lot of confidence, a lot of uncertainty shown by Notre Dame.
Tough runner by Diggins, an air ball hitting the underside of the backboard was Novosel. And finally a foul call that will give Notre Dame a chance at the free throw line. But Tina Charles picking up that rebound a moment ago, now the #1 all-time leading rebounder in UConn women's basketball history. And in second place now, Rebecca Lobo, who's here tonight. Rebecca, I can see from here a smile on your face, but #2 in the record books now.
Well, Tina Charles, it's all a result of hard work. This is a player who came in with high goals and great potential. And when you have those things, the more Coach Auriemma will push you. And we've talked so much over her career about how hard Coach Auriemma has been on her. Remember, she was the Big East Freshman of the Year, but he kept pushing her, and because he knew that she could be great. Now she's the all-time leading rebounder, will become the all-time leading scorer, will be the player of the year in the country this year. I mean, this is a result of a lot of hard work and great coaching by the Connecticut staff.
Charles underneath, has that shot blocked by Peters. That is a testament when the person that you pass is in the building and has all those types of things to say about the player that Tina Charles has become. She's got a heck of a teammate in Maya Moore as well, but Novosel again with a takeaway.
That's what Gino Auriemma told Rebecca at halftime. The loss of possessions.
How about the pass by Diggins to Devereaux Peters? That lights up the crowd. Timeout called by UConn. And we'll step aside for just a moment. Skylar Diggins with a playground highlight, but it's still UConn by 15. Skylar Diggins only has 2 points and 2 assists, but her second assist, pretty good. That got the crowd back into it.
How do you like that? Over the head. Her back is to the direction where it's going, but she's able to find Devereaux Peters. You talk about this freshman being something special. Hey, it's plays like this. When you talk about having eyes in the back of your head, she almost makes you think she does.
You don't want to showboat too much after you get it to go if you're Devereaux Peters, with the number of layups that Notre Dame has missed here in the second half and the fact that they are down by 15, but at least that got the crowd here at Purcell Pavilion back in the game. Diggins has struggled against UConn, a non-factor in the loss on January 16th, and up until that point, a non-factor tonight, 0 for 5 from the field.
I think that's really just shown the lack of experience in playing the caliber team like the Connecticut, but it's something that I think she will adjust to as the season goes on and as her career continues.
Shot clock under 10 for UConn. Shot clock down to 5. Hayes launches a 3. Peters the rebound. A little light for the Fighting Irish. See if they can put together a run. Diggins will penetrate. Lost her footing, but a foul call. 11:17 to go in the second half. Can Notre Dame threaten UConn and threaten the 68-game win streak? We're going to find out on Big Monday. Here in South Bend, Big Monday presented by Bud Light. Notre Dame has pulled within 15, which is an accomplishment in and of itself against UConn, because the numbers during the 68-game win streak for Connecticut are staggering. The average margin of victory about 33 points. Look at the line on the bottom. 25 times, Connecticut has more points by halftime than their opponent scores the entire game. And 95 out of 2,720 minutes that they've trailed, that was coming into tonight. So tack on another 29 minutes or so. They have not been behind at any point in this game tonight.
They just have such a dominating attitude. They want to come out, step on the floor, and they expect to win. And I think that that's something that Gino, he recruits, and then he instills in their players to carry that on.
Only 1 of 2 at the line for Skylar Diggins. She still has no field goals, now 3 points, and the lead down to 14. Charles inside, a chance for a 3-point play.
You look at this post to post, and when you have Maya Moore, who's got guard skills, coming off an on-ball screen by Tina Charles, that screen and roll action's tough to defend.
Tina Charles makes this free throw. She will only be 2 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer in the history of UConn basketball. She can't hit it, but a back tap by Tina Charles keeps the possession alive.
Look at Charles working inside. You got to give it to the big girl down low.
Instead, it's outside. Tiffany Hayes with a miss. Mallory threw it into the lane, and back on defense was Maya Moore, another steal.
Well, it looks like the game plan for Notre Dame was to go inside. They're passing up the three-point shot.
Timeout quickly called by Muffet McGraw, as Tina Charles is now only 1 point away from becoming the all-time leading scorer in UConn history. And the lead right back up to 18 for UConn. You know, it's amazing. You talked about what Gino Auriemma has built. It is a culture of winning. And Rebecca Lobo was a part of that culture, obviously. And she helped build this program into what it is. And Rebecca, you have more about the streak and I guess where this program is and what you've helped to create.
Well, Bob, they've had this kind of success because they're very good about focusing on the present moment. You know, most sports fans are talking about this 68-game streak. When I asked Kalina Green about it earlier today, she said, we hear about it, but we don't think about it. She said, I don't even know where the number is. I don't know if it's in the 30s or 40s or where it is. Of course, we're conscious of it, but we don't think about it. And she said, this time of year, it's easy to stay focused because after tonight's game, we're only guaranteed 2 more games. That's 1 game in the Big East tournament and 1 game in the NCAA tournament. That's their focus. Everybody else is talking about the streak, but Coach Auriemma does a very effective job of keeping them focused on the next game and not about the numbers that are growing.
Well, because Rebecca, Coach Gino Auriemma even jokingly maybe said he hoped that they lost a game before they went into the tournament to get everybody from talking about it. Well, that didn't work. He said his team doesn't talk about it, the coaches don't talk about it, but it's everybody else on the outside wants to ask him about the streak.
How can you not ask about it? Skylar Diggins pulls up off the side of the rim. Offensive rebound by Devereaux Peters. Misses again inside. Bruszewski can't hit. I mean, you're about to set, arguably, the most amazing record in the history of women's basketball. 3 more wins and you break your own school record. How do you not expect people not to notice it and then not to ask about it over and over again? Of course people are going to ask about it.
The thing that I don't get, though, Bob, is people ask players how you feel about the streak, what's the mentality about the streak. You know, the answers, what are you going to do with that information? The bottom line is this team wants to win a championship. So whether it's to go 69 in a row, 70 in a row, or even to get to 88, the bottom line is it's championships that you want to accumulate. A lot of dribbling by this Notre Dame team. A lot of standing, not a lot of cuts and opportunities to get outside perimeter shots, and then it causes things like this, turnovers to happen, uncertainty on the part of Notre Dame's offense.
4-on-1 finish by Kalina Green. Another timeout called by Muffet McGraw as the lead is up to 20 with a little over 9 minutes to go. Men's college basketball continues tonight on ESPN's Big Monday. At 9 Eastern in the Big 12, Oklahoma will take on Damian James and the 25th ranked Longhorns. Big Monday presented by Bud Light on ESPN. For more information, you can log on to ESPN.com. And if you go to ESPN.com, you'll see plenty about Tina Charles, plenty about a road to perfection for UConn. It's amazing. You know, so often you talk to coaches, and we talked to Gino Auriemma about this today. The teams we put on ESPN oftentimes are going to be the best in their respective conferences. You're asking a lot of times first-place coaches, what do you think about tonight's game? And so many first-place coaches will say, we know when we go into such and such building, we're going to get the other team's best shot. We are their Super Bowl. We're the team that everyone wants to knock off. No team is more emblematic of that than UConn. And they win every game, not just by 10, not just by 20, but by 30.
And it's not just in the Big East. It's against top-ranked teams, teams all across the country.
Devereaux Peters with an offensive rebound. She'll go to the free throw line. I mean, this is a team for Notre Dame that's been ranked in the top 5 this year for 15 weeks. Over the last 14 years, a program that's got close to 340 wins. They spent 54 straight weeks in the polls, and yet UConn beat them 72-47 in a game that wasn't even that close the first time the two teams met. And this, again, a huge game for Notre Dame. And UConn's up by 20 again in their building.
Well, Rebecca Lobo was talking about Kalana Green not knowing about the streak and talked about the first time that they played Notre Dame. She said once we threw the first couple of punches, we sucked the life out of them and had control the rest of the game. That's the mentality that this UConn Husky team has as they approach each game.
Moore fouled by Bruszewski, and I believe she was fouled shooting a 3. It'll be 3 free throws for Maya Moore.
Maya Moore's playing the post this season, but look, she also can float out and knock down the 3. Becca Bruszewski was late getting there, ends up fouling Maya Moore and sends her to the free throw line for 3.
Maya Moore only a junior, and yet she's now only 19 points away from scoring 2,000 for her career. So if she has even a representative senior season, she'll end up breaking the record that Tina Charles has set, and she'll be the all-time leading scorer in UConn women's history.
I wonder if Tina Charles is thinking about, you know, as I finish my senior career, I got to put as many points and rebounds up there so that hopefully Maya Moore doesn't catch me or doesn't blow my record away by too much.
At Maya Moore's current rate, she'll have the record broken by Christmas, and she will pad it. And she'll probably finish this season about 200 to 250 points behind Tina Charles. Well, she'll score 700 points next season.
And Maya Moore is the defending National Player of the Year. Oh, nice pass by Peters, but Schrader can't finish the layup. But Tina Charles, I think, is the National Player of the Year this year. She has just had a phenomenal senior season.
Tiffany Hayes scores inside, and the lead has grown to 25.
This crowd wants Notre Dame to take some perimeter shots. They're not even looking for the shot from the outside.
Mallory tries a 3. That's off the mark. Another rebound for Tina Charles. Doty pulls up. The quick trigger. She knocks it down. A 13-0 run for the Huskies.
Notre Dame's trying so hard to get shots in the paint, attacking the basket, but they've got to be able to shoot that perimeter shot to open things up.
Devereaux Peters fouled by Maya Moore. 7:22 to go, and UConn in the same place they normally are on the scoreboard.
After undergoing surgery today on his right injured thumb, recovery time would go into the playoffs. And Syracuse is #1 in the latest ESPN USA Today coaches poll. The only other time the Cuse held this honor in this poll was at the end of '03 after winning the national championship with Carmelo Anthony. Cuse #1 in the polls, Kansas #2. Bob?
Ryan, I don't think there's going to be much debate as to who's going to be #1 in the women's poll.
You don't think
so? But it's released tomorrow. I have a pretty good feeling as to who most votes are going to go towards.
Most, I would say every single vote.
Yeah, I would think so.
Unanimous.
UConn 59, Notre Dame 32, as the Connecticut Huskies are en route to their 11th win against a top 10 team during this 68, soon to be 69 game winning streak. And they are right on pace to keep that average margin of victory as well against top 10 teams. Over 27 points per game they have won by.
Well, all 5 of their starters are in double figures, and there's still 7 minutes to go in the second half.
The UConn starters outscoring the Notre Dame starters 59-7. Moore, Charles, Hayes, Doty, and Green all in double figures. And the Notre Dame starters to this point are a combined 2 for 27 from the field.
And they used to, early in the season, had 5 players that averaged in double figures.
Leitner called for the foul on the floor, checking Kalena Green. Team foul number 7 against the Irish, so it'll be a 1-and-1 for Kalena Green.
Bob, a lot has been said about the records that have been broken by Tina Charles tonight, but let's talk a little bit about Kalena Green. She has gotten her 3-point field goal percentage up to 45%. She's a terrific defender. She can go off the bounce. She's a player that's going to go in the first round of the WNBA draft.
Barlow with ball movement, 5 on the shot clock from the corner. Finally, a 3 goes for Leitner. And with more on Kalena Green, let's check in with Rebecca.
Well, her improvement is a result of hard work, Carolyn, and she did have to decide whether or not she wanted to come back for this 5th year. And at the beginning of this season, Coach Auriemma told her that this could be the best decision she's ever made or the worst decision she's ever made, all depending on what she puts into it. She's had no regrets. It's obviously been the best decision she's ever made in terms of positioning in the WNBA draft.
Tina Charles just about had the record. That turnaround would have done it. Who wouldn't you take from UConn in the first round of the WNBA draft?
Well, since you've got 3 centers that play, Notre Dame's trying to still keep this crowd involved in the game, and they passed up those 3-point shots. But I do believe that the 2 starters for UConn, Kalena Green and Tina Charles, is going to go first. There's an opportunity Connecticut could possibly get both those 2. It could be a team of former Huskies.
Kelly Farris fouled by Erica Williamson, and men's college basketball continues on ESPN Tuesday night with a doubleheader. First at 7 Eastern, it's the 19th-ranked Commodores of Vanderbilt taking on Florida. The SEC on ESPN kicks off Super Tuesday. Then we go to the Big Ten at 9 Eastern. Evan Turner and the Buckeyes will take on the Illini. Super Tuesday presented by KFC on ESPN and ESPN360.com tomorrow night. Tiffany Hayes back in. Kalena Green goes to the bench. Kelly Farris, a McDonald's All-American last year, and a freshman that finished second, actually, to Skylar Diggins in Indiana for Indiana Miss Basketball last year. Barlow fumbles it out of bounds.
That's just an unforced turnover. You know, Notre Dame's got to look at this score and say, if I thought that would hold Notre Dame to 59 points, we got a shot. But they have just struggled offensively, and I think it's because they've focused too much on getting the ball inside, and their shooters from the perimeter, Leitner, Mallory, Barlow, have not looked to take that 3-point shot.
And it probably illustrates what we talked about before, as Diggins tries one from NBA range and misses everything, that UConn is such a good defensive team, but that gets lost in all of the mind-numbing offensive numbers that they put up. Notre Dame averages 79 points a game. They scored 47 the first time these 2 teams met, and they've got 39 tonight with under 5 minutes to go.
Well, UConn ranks #1 in scoring defense nationally, #1 in field goal percentage defensively, and in fouls. They don't foul when they defend. That's part of the secret to defending. You don't want to put a team on the free throw line because you play aggressive defense.
Hayes takes a bump and finishes. Score the bucket for Tiffany Hayes, plus the foul, a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, Connecticut's off to the races. Maybe Tiffany Hayes could have given the ball up, but she keeps it, finishes, and is able to get herself to the free throw line.
How does a team not get complacent when it comes this easy for them, when they beat everyone over and over and over again by double figures, if not by 25 to 30? A rebound inside, and there's the record for Tina Charles. She is now the all-time leader in rebounding and points scored in UConn history.
I think it starts with Gino Auriemma. I've watched him as great a player as Maya Moore is. Any little thing that she doesn't do, he draws attention to it. Just because you're winning, it's very easy for you to overlook the minor details to get better. Gino Auriemma doesn't do that. She's a beast down low. Tina Charles is the best center in the country.
Impossible to stop when she catches it that low.
You know, how do you keep a streak going? 68 going on 69. It's that ability to not be complacent, to be patting yourself on the back. Gino Auriemma will go home tonight, even though they will have another possible 25, 30-point victory, and look at the things and point out to the players what it is that they did not do well, that they cannot afford not to do in the tournament.
What do you point out tonight? 69-41, and here's the record breaker for Tina Charles. She already broke Rebecca Lobo's all-time rebounding record, and now she's the all-time scoring leader as well, breaking Nikisha Sales, arguably the greatest player, certainly the most accomplished player now in Connecticut basketball history. Earlier, this rebound broke the record long held by Rebecca Lobo for most rebounds in UConn women's basketball history. And off the Tiffany Hayes missed free throw, this follow makes her the all-time leading scorer in UConn history, breaking the records not only of Rebecca Lobo, but also of Nikisha Sales tonight. All the great players that have come through this program, she's at the top of arguably the two most impressive lists.
Well, she came to Connecticut to become the best center in the country. Gino Auriemma challenged her, especially after Connecticut lost to Stanford in the Final Four. She hasn't looked back. She even put an article up in her locker that reminded her of how important she is and what she's got to do in order for this team to be successful, and it has paid off.
Traveling called. As we take a look at some of the great names in UConn women's basketball history. Nikisha Sales passed by Tina Charles. Rebecca Lobo as well passed by Tina Charles. And Maya Moore is going to be right there, I would think, to take over the scoring lead probably by the midway point of next season. As amazing as that is, she's the fastest player by far that will ever reach 2,000 points in UConn women's history.
It won't take her long. And, you know, when she puts up like she did 38 points against Syracuse, she has those kind of nights in her. It won't take her long. I really have great admiration for Tina Charles because of the tough love that was shown by Gino Auriemma in coaching her in order to help her to become the player she wanted to be. When you look at players nowadays that transfer because a coach is hard on them or they're not experiencing the success that they want to have, Tina Charles stuck with it, and she really wanted to be a great post. She took his constructive criticism.
Quick substitution for Connecticut as they start to take their starters out with 2 minutes to go. And what a night it was across the board for their starters. 13 for Tiffany Hayes, 11 for Caroline Doty, 17 for Moore, 16 for Tina Charles on a record-setting night, 12 for Kalena Green. And a very frustrating night for Notre Dame, as they had high hopes that they would at least be competitive, certainly more competitive than they were in stores back in mid-January, but the result is going to look basically the same.
Notre Dame's got to go back and look at, again, the lack of confidence in their execution of their offense. They've got to get a balance between paint scores and perimeter scores.
Barlow is fouled, and the UConn Huskies looking to better their undefeated record of 70 wins from 2001 to 2003. Well, on Sunday at the Big East Women's Tournament quarterfinal at 2 Eastern on ESPNU, you will see them continue to try and keep the streak alive, as Gino Auriemma has been on the bench to see quite a few streaks. Already the 2 longest streaks in women's basketball history. And who knows, you pass 70, you get to 71. Now you start to look at UCLA in 88. And now you start to look at being the kings and or queens of all basketball, men or women. And who thinks they won't do it? We'll bet against them.
Now, you got to remember now, next year, they're not going to have a Tina Charles.
Okay.
And so, and they're looking at possibly getting Stanford back on the schedule. If they have a rematch with Oklahoma. It's not so easy if you don't have that anchor inside. Replacing Tina Charles. Now, the question was this year, how do you replace Renee Montgomery? They answered that question. But filling the shoes of Tina Charles, I think that's a whole different ballgame.
Turner is fouled, so she'll go to the free throw line.
And all Gino Auriemma can do is shake his head. It's like, don't foul right now.
It has been that kind of night for Notre Dame. They scored 47 points when these two teams met on January 16th. And they've got 47 points on the board again tonight. This is a team that averages about 79 per game.
If there's a positive that Notre Dame can take for this game, it's the play of Becca Brzezinski in the paint. She was aggressive. She was able to finish. But now to go with that inside play, what Notre Dame's got to do is find confidence in execution and getting a balance on the perimeter.
Barris rattles home a 3. Down to the last 10 seconds of win number 69 in a row for UConn. An amazing streak, and what could end up being the most amazing streak in women's basketball history stays alive for the Huskies as they blow out Notre Dame for the second time this season. 76-51 is the final.
Well, it was a balanced attack, a spectacular night. We got to see Tina Charles break the scoring and rebounding record as Connecticut continues the win streak.
And basically right on the average of top 10 teams and how badly they have beaten them. Again, that's the 11th time during this streak that they've beaten a top 10 team. Their average margin of victory in the previous 10 wins, 27.5 points per game. And tonight, they win it by 25. And the all-time record setter in points and rebounds in the same night becomes Tina Charles in UConn women's history. And Rebecca Lobo is standing by with the coach and the star.
Tina, after all the hard work you've put in the past 4 years, how rewarding is it to tonight become UConn's all-time leading scorer and rebounder?
It feels great, but I think it's all going to come together, God willing, if we win a national championship.
How much credit does Coach Auriemma deserve for the progress you've made over the last 4 years?
He gets all the praises. Just the fact that he stuck with me, he didn't give up on my game. He just believed in me, and he just continued to push me, and he gave me everything that I told him that I wanted out of this program.
All right, congratulations, Tina. Coach, no one's been harder on Tina than you. How rewarding is it for you to see her become UConn's all-time leading scorer and rebounder tonight?
I'm just really happy for Tina. It's not, as you know, it's not easy to put up with me on a daily basis. But she told me when she came to Connecticut that she wanted to be the best player in the country, and I would feel bad if she left and that hadn't happened. So I'm thrilled for her and her family, and I know it means an awful lot to her, and I know she's not finished yet, but I'm really, really proud of her.
another dominating performance from your team, but you told us this morning that the team hasn't been playing all that well lately. How important is this upcoming week of rest to get things back?
A lot. I think we really need this week off. We hadn't been playing well. We looked a little bit sluggish, but I think the environment and who we were playing against and all that kind of played into it. I thought this was one of our better games that we played maybe in the last 3 weeks or so. Our defense was great. You know, we just have guys that show up for big games, and certainly this was a big game. I mean, you're here. It's got to be a big game, and that's why they play great.
All right, Coach, thanks very much. Guys, not easy to play for, but when you want to be great, you have to be pushed, and he's the best at it.
Well, Rebecca, he has pushed this team to the brink of history, of repeating history in UConn women's basketball, at least in all of college basketball potentially. 69 straight wins for the Connecticut Huskies, every single one of them by double digits. And again tonight in dominant fashion on the road at Notre Dame. 76-51 is your final. This has been a presentation of ESPN, your exclusive home for the Women's NCAA Championship. For Carolyn Peck, Rebecca Lobo, and our entire crew, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from South Bend. Now we go back to the studio. Ryan Burr and Kara Lawson standing by. Guys.
Thanks so much, Bob. So 69 straight been able to accomplish. 25-point win over Notre Dame. UConn now 69 consecutive games as they go into the Big East tournament. They'll start in the quarterfinals and have likely 3 games there. When you look at the Big East, the team that could give them the most trouble, and it's difficult because the games are played in Hartford. They do have a home court advantage, but if someone could get them, who would it be?
I like St. John's. I really do. And I think if you're going to beat Connecticut and you look at the oppressive defense that they put on you, you must have perimeter players that can make plays, that can get inside your defense, and that can score when things get locked up offensively. And I think St. John's has that. You look at Notre Dame, they've played them twice this year, and they've been overmatched both times. So I think when you take a look at the Big East as a whole, I think St. John's is the best shot.
And ultimately, you have to believe it will come down to a team that can slow them down, because when they get in the open court, as we saw with Notre Dame, it was a 1-point game. They started to run and were able to blow things wide open. So once again for UConn, here's what we're looking at. If they win on Sunday in the quarterfinals, that would be 70 consecutive wins. That's 2 o'clock on ESPNU. Then if they win Monday, it would be the record 71, also on ESPNU. The Big East Championship game, March 9th, which is Tuesday. You can watch that game on ESPN. Of course, we are dealing with ifs. They still have to go out and win the games, but so far they've been able to do that 69 consecutive times. Also in the Big East tonight, West Virginia was in some trouble at Syracuse, and the Carrier Dome, pretty good place to be for Syracuse the last couple of days. #1 in the polls in the men, and a big upset win tonight over West Virginia. What do you see here?
Yeah, I mean, well, you take a look at Morrow there. I mean, 23 points, and she's a player for Syracuse that has great ability to score the basketball, to get into the paint. And West Virginia, I mean, they've been a team, even though they've been winning games, they've not been impressive as of late. And so for them to go on the road, we'll see how this rears its head, because now you're talking about 2 through 5 playing for seeding in the Big East tournament. West Virginia, St. John's, Georgia.